Hello, everybody. It's Max with Crypto Talk now. Glad to see you here today. Just going to fix a setting real quick. I'll be right back. All right, I'll just finish fixing my camera position. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight at Crypto Talk now. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to basically come on in and join us here. But again, I'm so glad to be able to have you guys here tonight with us. And if anything, we'll go ahead and get into some of the crypto news and updates. So let's just kind of wait for a few more people to come on in and we'll go from there. And in the process of doing so, I think I'll mess with a few more settings. All right. Hopefully, a few more people are coming on in, and we'll go from there. I realize it's the holiday weekend, Black Friday, and so on. So um, sometimes we'll have some late stragglers and whatnot. I do see Larry saying hello, go Max, and Tim Shea is in the house. Thank you for joining us, Tim. How you doing, Tim? Everything good with you? You have a good turkey dinner yesterday. What did you have? Coochie Boy says, sup, Max? Good to see you, Coochie Boy. Hopefully you guys enjoying this Thanksgiving holiday weekend and whatnot. Is there any specific cryptos you guys are looking into during this time? I kind of changed up the thumbnail about maybe an hour before the show to reflect more about, today's day, Black Friday, and so on. I didn't really see anything like significant as far as being like a, let's face it, like a crypto Black Friday sale and whatnot. But kind of like to hear what you guys think about some of that. Is there any ones that you're eyeballing right now that you're kind of on the fence of maybe getting into or holding off on, whatever the case be? But yeah, good to see you guys here, of course. I'm going to go ahead and actually just start the show. For some reason, my camera got kind of bumped in the position of it and so on. So I was trying to fix that. But at the beginning of the show, there wasn't really anybody here. So I was glad to be able to do that before more people came in. Mr. Lambo's Crypto Talk. This feels like the bottom, or am I wrong? It kind of feels like that, but I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, some people still have it, projected that we could be going out to 12K, 11K, and so on. But it is kind of interesting to see what's going on with that. But thanks for being here, Mr. Lambos. Hopefully you're having a good Thanksgiving holiday weekend. And let's see. Lily has Coinbase on their Twitter. Still don't think they will get listed. Lily Finance, yeah. Mr. Lambos. No, not the bottom, according to Coochie Boy. And Sweet Caroline is the bottom. Jeez. Yeah. All right. Coochie Boy. Stocks got to tank more first. That's funny. Yeah. I mean, it does seem to be the case. Jeff Pruden, aka Z, Mr. Wall. Max, you sexy effer. Let me see that smile. Well, thank you. Well, good to see you. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Mr. Lambo's Crypto Talk, says Tim. Well, right back at you. All right. Well, hopefully everybody's enjoying their weekend, like I mentioned. Probably loading up on all the leftovers and so on. I made something that wasn't actually on Thanksgiving, but it was the day before Thanksgiving. I made some beef stroganoff, and I forgot that it was in there. And I went to go eat it, and it even tasted better than the original day that I made it. And I came to the conclusion the reason for that is because it's kind of like the concept of a marinade. It took like a day or two, and all those ingredients made it that much more tastier. So good to see you. Thank you for being here. Z says, what's up, family? Yes. Coochie boy, we haven't decoupled from the DOW quite yet. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and actually just save your spot right there. I am going to go ahead and get the show going right now. Um, since it is Black Friday, I thought I'd go ahead and, you know, see if there was anything that kind of stood out with the overall crypto market. And I definitely want to, of course, show that to you guys. I'm just going to get these 2 pages ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and present this right now. And of course, thank you for joining us here at Crypto Talk Now. So, today's cryptocurrency prices by market cap shows that the overall crypto market cap is sitting at 841.39 billion. I don't necessarily feel as though that this is bottom yet either. Some crazy things could happen. Let's just be honest. But Solana is still trending. ETH is trending as well. Of course, FTX is probably going to be trending for quite some time. In a negative aspect. Distressed assets are definitely something that a lot of people are looking into. I myself, especially. But yeah, Bitcoin's sitting at 16.6. Not even that much of a big deal as far as the increase. ETH is up about 2.5% or more. A lot of people have a lot of worry about what's going on with Tether. They feel as though that if this was to crash, then this would just be like, there'd be so much more pain. And if anything, that, there'd be so many retail traders that you just choose, I guess, to take a loss or get completely out of crypto and so on. But my thing would be to still keep track of where the institutional money will be coming from and if they will be getting in heavy and so on, because a lot of times when there's a lot of fear, those particular ones come out of the woodwork, especially to eat this all up, if you will. I wanted to point out that XRP is now up past 40 cents, about 4.5% increase, 7.22% increase on the 7-day chart. Of course, Dogecoin is doing pretty well today and so on. Polygon slightly up. Let me click on the 24-hour chart. We have Huobi token, HT, is up about 21.5%. That's pretty impressive. They're in the top 50. They're not part of my favorites or anything like that, but doing very well. Phantom is up 8% and matching on the 7-day as well. It's almost back up to 20 cents, not quite. Excuse me. Quant, I cover Quant quite often. I'm trying to put another video out today. I just, I was taking a couple of days off because of the whole holiday thing. But Quant is up to close to 120, 6.76% increase. We definitely see Casper is up as well. Of course, we already talked about not Shibi, XRP. I do want to point out what's going on with SHIB. So, we broke into, of course, 5 zeros. It was down as low as 8. I think it was like down to 877. So it was like 5 zeros, 877. So those who got into it at that price level, I mean, you're not even that far away from where I originally got into it at 5 zeros. 50799. Yeah. Of course, I recently got into Graph and so on. But anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and just double check a couple settings because I don't want to have any problems. And of course, I saw a few more people join us. So before we kick it into the watch list, I'm going to go ahead and recognize a few more people. I think I read this one already, but yeah, we haven't decoupled from the DOW quite yet. Coochie Boy Sam Low Z. Mr. Lambo's Crypto Talk. As far as ISO tokens, I got XRP, XLM, Quant, and Algo. I'm thinking of getting Casper or IOTA next. What you're looking at, like next week or something? That's cool, man. Right on. Tim Shea has been adding to his Gala bag. Yeah, that one. I'm just gonna double check that one as well. So with Gala, I can never pronounce it the right way. Sitting at 2.5 cents. That's pretty interesting. All right, Mr. Lambos. Some have been recommending ENJ engine. What do you guys think of that? I still think that's one's kind of like overlooked. There was a lot of talk about, especially last year's bull run. Especially a lot of talk about it. For instance, at the end of 2021, going into early 2022. But I think it's one of those ones in which it's a buy. It's a bargain right now. Coochie Boy, Litecoin did quite well. Yeah, it has a lot of top influencers been covering it quite a bit. Mr. Lambo's engine will pump with Sandbox and Mana. Yes. Edward Vincent, what up, Max? Happy Friday. Well, good to see you, Edward. Thank you for being here. What up to you too? Happy Friday, happy Black Friday to you. Did you go out? Did you stand in one of those crazy lines like at Best Buy or something like that, or you just do the whole online thing? I know a lot of people took advantage of some sales and whatnot. I have some friends I think took advantage of maybe finally buying like an RTX graphics card. One of my friends bought a 4090 RTX. I mean, before Black Friday, I mean, that card in itself is like $2,500. It's insane. It's like more than some people's computers, right? All right. I wish I had a really nice computer. I mean, I used to have a pretty decent computer, but I just don't play enough games like I used to justify me just going all in on a really amazing setup. Eventually I will. I would love to play the new MW2. Z says, Max, when's the next time you do the floating head? The best, funniest stuff. Yeah, I'll try to make an announcement and put like in a thumbnail. That way I do it again. So, but yeah, I was thinking about doing that. Thanks for pointing that out. Amber Vincent, Tim, what up? Coochie boy, am I the only one liking ANKR? Possibly. I know you're specifically talking about ANKR, not necessarily Anchor Protocol. They're two different ones. Ever Vincent, happy Friday. Z, Tim Shea, Coochie Boy, Mr. Lambos. Coochie Boy, I like Anchor, ANKR, just one of those I haven't got yet. Huh. All right, you guys welcome each other. All right, dang it, computer parts. All right, Calvin says, hello, Calvin, by the way. Tim Shea, hope you and yours had a wonderful Thanksgiving 2023 just around the corner. It is around the corner, especially Christmas. Literally, I don't know how you guys do things. I mean, I don't really hang up, Christmas decorations and stuff. Used to, but if I was going to, how I would do it is literally Christmas. The Christmas tree goes up today. As far as the lights on the outside, it goes up today, and then all that stuff gets torn down January 2nd. That's the way I look at it. But some, people are different. Some people put it up like literally in, I don't know, like November 1st or stuff, things like that, like the day after Halloween. I don't know. Teach his own. Z, I'll be at that show. Miss you, old friend. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, you too. It's good to see some of the old familiar faces, like that song, Familiar Faces. Anyway, who sings that song? I forgot who sings this song. Anyway, Rafael Santos. Hello, Sir Max. Hi. Typo. I know you meant CTM family. Good to see you, Raphael. Nice. What's that? A custom avatar in the Philippines or something like that of a sunset. That looks good. Hopefully you're doing a lot better for yourself, Raphael. And yes, happy belated Thanksgiving to everybody. Salamander in Space, aka the XDC Commander of Disaster. Not disaster, but yes, thank you for being here, Salamander. What up to you as well? Rafael Santos. Hello, Sir Tim Shea, Z, Salamander, and Edward. All right. All right. I'm going to show you guys a little bit more in regards to my watch list, and then we'll kick it into, of course, more of our actual coverage on the show. We got some updates for you guys. All right. So here's my particular watch list, and I'm actually going to show you a few key things here. So for instance, we talked about XRP, but let's go ahead and refresh this. So, Cool Cat was mentioning that SONM, the BEP20 token. That one is pumping again. So that's kind of interesting to see what's going on with that. I'm kind of hold off on that one a little bit, for myself personally. But for those who, got into that really, really early with the last crash, before they had that like parabolic pump, they made some good money, especially depending on how much they had into it. And that's how it is sometimes. There's things that just pump for whatever reason, right? I need to double check what happened with my Klikai / Shiba Inu pairing. I was earning a little over 56% APY on that. I do really need to double check on that. I was supposed to check on that like roughly about 2 or 3 months ago. But for whatever reason I did it. And that's okay. I'm not really too worried about it. How about this? Mononoke is up, yeah, it's like a moment of silence with that. All right, Dogecoin, we saw some of these. I just want to state this. So I saw some of you guys send out a tweet about the whole thing of Shinobi with the V2 migration. I'm being honest, guys. It's the most easiest migration ever. You just simply go to their site, click on the info for the V2. You don't even really need to watch a tutorial on it. I mean, if I need to do that, I can, but um, it is a piece of cake, and you literally get your tokens super quick. I would highly recommend doing it and so on. I understand the frustration of it. Like, you got into Shinobi, maybe like myself, where it was really attractive with all the zeros. And especially like, I don't really recommend this guy all the time, but Adam Shelton, he did a whole spreadsheet, for instance, breaking down if it shaves off certain zeros and how much you'd be making and so on. And that was very attractive. Think about how many people got into Shinobi based off of that alone, right? Plenty. Well, with the whole situation change going to a V2, that changes everything. But it is what it is. They are, of course, migrating and so on. And we'll see how this thing goes, especially when entering back into a bull market. But I just want to state that it was very painless for me to do that. And I do remember at the beginning of the V1, I mean, I was up as much as, oh man, I think I made as high as $4,000 off of Shinobi. Should I took my profits? Well, probably. But during that time, I was just also thinking like everything was going to go in a different direction. So, but yeah, in a bull run, I definitely see them and a lot of other projects that I'm unfortunately no longer reinvesting into, could very well do well. And let's face it, I mean, when there's a hint of a bull run, I know I don't talk about meme coins often, and you guys know my stance on it, but when there's a hint of a bull run or relief rallies, sometimes some of these things do well. Dogecoin was doing well. Anything with a Doge on it is doing all right. Like even this one, Doge Chain, DC, right? It's up about 10%. Kiba Inu, that was one of the very last ones I was thinking about getting into as far as a meme coin back in the day. Does that mean I'm recommending it now? No, but it's up about 9%. But anyway, I wanted to point some of these out. Of course, we're talking about Quant. XXI Gaming, his Stratos that he pointed out. I mean, like that one in itself, man. I mean, that one has so much volatility back and forth. Like even long term or short term, it seems like it'd be a good swing trade personally. Now, as far as how hard it is to get your money out of certain exchanges and so on, I don't know. Of course, I haven't done enough research on that particular one, but I've been definitely eyeballing that one. Anyway, that was it as far as my particular watch list. I'm just going to kick it back in the comments just here briefly, and then we will kick it into some of the coverage that we have for you guys from Investor Place. It's a real quick one from them. It's not really drawn out and whatnot, but if anything, it came out today, and it's regards to what's going on with the current market and where we could be going. So thank you so much for those who joined us here tonight. And if anything, I do see Z's giving love to some of the people who he's familiar with. He says, did anyone hear of the new coin coming out? It is called the Z coin. It is the best. That's funny. Oh, I never heard of that. That's actually pretty funny. Right on. I could imagine why you would say it was the best. Tim Shea, is that like Zcash? I don't know. I mean, Zcash is pretty expensive still in it. Coochie Boy, holding my ASS token and Shinobi on Bitmart, and Shinobi hasn't migrated to V2 yet on Bitmart. It takes a while for Bitmart. I know that much. Even with my Saitama, it took a while, but it was automatic, so I will give Bitmart credit on that. But it is a case of just simply waiting it out and waiting for Bitmart to do what they got to do. But I understand, in that regard with Bitmart. Z, it's even better than Zcash. It's Zbomb. Tim Shea says Boomer said he only has $1 billion. He ain't gonna get it then. Yeah, he's not gonna. Here's the thing. I'm gonna pull up mine real quick. Let me just hold on. Boomer said he only has $1 billion. Shinja. I don't think he's exaggerating. I don't think so either. His are on Bitmart too, so the exchange will do it automatically. Okay, that's different. So for instance, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna check mine real quick. I have mine, my Shinja on Coinbase Wallet, for instance. I mean, I know that we all have different places that we have it on. Sorry about that, man. Those get kind of itchy. So give me a second. Just gonna pull this up real quick. And I'm pretty sure I'm just double checking my Coinbase wallet. So for instance, just refreshing, I have I got all my Shinobi like literally, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute after I migrated. But I have V1 left. And as far as my balance on V1, yeah, I have, let me see here. Oh my gosh, that's too much to count. So I don't know, man. That's 109, and then there's like 3, 6, 9. That would be a billion. So trillion, I have 109 quadrillion Shinja left. Okay. Um, and that didn't get migrated over. You know what I mean? It says it's 75 cents worth. So if he just had some pocket change of Shinja, like I don't see that getting migrated. I just don't. Just like for instance, what was it? My Saitama version 1. My Saitama V1 was 16. Hold on. 16,469,000, right? And then some change. That didn't get migrated over either because, like, I guess the way they look at it is because of the ETH gas fee. So, if he didn't get a billion migrated, right, that would be considered like crypto dust, if you will. If my 75 cents worth, which equates to like the amount I mentioned, which is in the quadrillions, right? Then there's no way they're gonna do that because of the ETH gas fees. I hate to say that, which sucks, right? Like if I was him, I'd be pretty frustrated, but it is what it is. All right. Z's laugh or Tim Shea laughing. All right, hold on a second. All right, let me go a little bit further down. Yeah, Shay, mine is still showing 0. Also, I think I have over 100 billion before migration. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I had close to like a quintillion or something. I had a lot. Like I got into Shinobi literally, I think day 2 of when it first launched. So I was into it really, really early. And that was a rule of thumb that I used to follow back then. Like I know, Kuchi Boy, for instance, like, hey, I better watch why I talk here. Like, don't mention the meme coins. It's all kind of like a joke and so on. But when I was like super into that, like last year's bull run and whatnot, I would literally go on like CoinGecko because CoinGecko would always have listings of like, certain new meme coin projects way before everybody else. Like, you would have to wait at least 2 weeks, maybe longer, 3 weeks to see it on the likes of CMC. Like CoinGecko was like, like a go-to place. Dex Tools go-to, PooCoin, right? Places like that. Like you're gonna see it way before everybody else. And when I found out about Shinobi on like day 2, and like I saw, it was like literally going like parabolic and just was like, wow, even because it's like, why would you want to get into something once going parabolic? Like you want to buy on the dip, but that was a different situation. Why? Because of all the zeros that are attached to it. So it's like, even if you threw in, I don't know, like $50 into it or something like that, right? It was just like at that point with all the zeros attached to, I think it was like 16 or 17 zeros at the time. It's just like, well, so what if it doesn't, if it takes a dip or dump or whatever? It was just like, it's not the end of the world. And then of course I went the other way and then, made some decent money on it. And it was like, all right, awesome. Glad I did it. But yeah, anyway, guys, I see the frustration. XXI game, man, it's been going crazy. I love Stratos. Hey, good to see you here. Since I was just talking about you. What's good, everyone? I'm here just in the background watching the best crypto show on YouTube. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you as always. Really do appreciate that and so on. So I wanted to ask you earlier, did you ever cash out at any point? Like, did you ever take out any profits on Stratos? And if so, was it like, pretty painless and like, if you want to share that, if you don't want to share, that's fine too. Rafael Santos, CTN coin will boom. LOL. Well, thanks, man. I mean, maybe someday that would, maybe that'll be something we'll do in the future. Tim Shea, I have like 95 quad and it isn't worth much either. Okay. They haven't swapped them over on Bitmart yet. I did my old CVC in my MetaMask right now. Oh God, CVC. Yeah. Huh. That's interesting itself. So yeah, I still have, like I mentioned, however much left I have, quadrillions or something like that. So I mean, it's only worth 75 cents. But it's like, come on, man. I mean, shouldn't that be credit towards? You have to be looking at the dollar value. So maybe technically speaking, I mean, I just need to, I don't know, try that again or something. You know, I don't know. It's worth a try. All right. Raphael saying hello, everybody. XXI Gaming. I seen Stratos go from 35 to 61 cents. Yeah, so have I. Within 10 hours, a little crazy. Yeah, it's been nuts. Like swing trader's dream, basically. Um. Anyway. Okay. Kuchu boys. Plus, you gotta multiply it by the 1 million. XXI Gaming states, I believe Stratos will hit 50 cents in the next, or $50. $50? Yeah, that would be 50. Yeah, that would have to be. It's roughly 60 cents right now. The next bull run, maybe. That's crazy. Not saying you're crazy, but that'd be insane, man. All right, Salamander. Comtech Gold tokens, CGO, will be created on the Zenfin, okay, XDCs, obviously, blockchain network based on the deposit of physical gold bars located in Dubai Multi-Commodity Center. All right, I'm going to look more into that. And if anything, I'll do a recorded video on that because I'm trying to keep up with our coverage with XDC because we're getting a pretty good reception from that, especially, Quant, XDC, Bohm, Luna Classic. I haven't done Luna Classic video in a while, but yeah, those are big ones right now. XRP, the last XRP video went pretty well too. Rafael Santos, I have Shinja and L Bank. That's the time I start watching CTN. That was a long time ago. Huh. Well, I never heard anything negative about L Bank and so on. And, it's one of those exchanges that do have some exclusive cryptos that are not necessarily listed like, they list things that not every other exchange lists, is what I'm trying to say. All right. Z says, Max, you may like this new coin. I keep seeing it everywhere. It's called Robot Era, Taro. It's funny you mentioned Taro. That's one of my favorite boba drinks. Taro, like in the Philippines. Raphael knows what I'm talking about. Purple yam, delicious. Anyway, newly launched NFT, play to earn and metaverse crypto in hot pre-sale. Is it on CMC? I'll have to check it out. Tim Shea, Raphael, they should migrate automatically. Yeah, if it's from there, I would imagine they would do that. Calvin, initially I was forced out of XRP on Coinbase. Would love to see them overcome the SEC this coming year. We're going to have some news about that here soon. And by the way, thank you for being here, Calvin. Tim Shea's talking to you. That's good. Salamander, upgrade XDC 2.0, the blockchain 2.0. After the beta testing of it, the network is bridged into the new dev net. With this upgrade, the XDC network gets military-grade security and efficient performance. Man, I love hearing that. If anything, when I see a little bit more confirmation on that, I believe what you're saying. But if I want to see like the words I'm putting in the video, or if anything, maybe I take like a screenshot and put it into a thumbnail because I like those type of terms. When a person is viewing random things on on YouTube, for instance. There's this category with analytics is called impressions. So it's not like people don't see our videos and don't watch them, but if anything, they go through a list and it's what grabs your attention. If I was going through a list and I had something said, or saw something said XDC, the ETH killer, and it said, military grade security, that alone is enticing enough to want to click on and find more. So I really appreciate that info, Salamander. This is all about community of sharing all sorts of things with each other. We really appreciate that. XXI game, I know I haven't yet stressed. It's a long-term play for me. Okay, fair enough. Glad to get the info about that. But it seems like they're on enough exchanges. I mean, why would all the exchanges not do that? Make it so you can't get your money or anything. I just, it was one of those ones in which I, of course, haven't researched fully. And, just like anybody, like kind of curious about that, especially since you did well on that one. Boomer effing Sooner is in the house. Howdy. Good to see you. Tim Shea, Salamander, all that. Hello, Sir Max, Tim Shea, everybody. Boomer with his money mouth out. All right. That's good. Z says IBC starts for Luna Classic next month. Can't wait. Right on, man. Yeah, I've been seeing some stuff about IBC, not IBC, but necessarily the whole thing on Luna Classic and Cosmos, we covered that here before. I know that, Classic Crypto has been talking about a lot lately, and that's great, man. Glad to see some of those particular influencers continuously covering the likes of Luna Classic. 2Bit's been, killing it. Obviously, Classic Crypto, Crypto King. There's quite a few others. I think, yeah, there's some more to it. I was gonna say Claybro, but I think he covers more SHIB than that. So that's great to see that. Calvin, Tim Shea, the trash continues to be taken out. Tim Shea, Calvin, it's a long time coming. And got Rafael Santos, haha, yes, sir. Taro milk tea with Sago. Yes, it's just so, like, highly recommend it. Probably in the next couple of days, I might go down to my local boba place and get me a Taro boba because, it's just so delicious. All right. Boomer F and Sooner. Yep, my 1.2 billion Shinja is on Bitmart. Well, that might save you because they might just do it automatically. But if anything, they're going to time it. They're going to wait as well because of the ETH gas fees and so on. But let us know. Will they hook you up? Because, I don't know. I'm looking at this, man, and I'm like, I'm in the quadrillions. I should have had that migrated as well. But they're also looking at it from the token value. It's like 75 cents. It's like, well, that's not my problem, right? Like, but it is what it is, man. Yeah, even Coochie Boy, like you mentioned, mine also, but when they haven't migrated them yet. Yeah. All right. So if anything, I'm going to say the spot right here. And I'm going to go ahead and kick it into some of our coverage here tonight for you all. Very much appreciate those who are here tonight. There is a good update in regards to what's going on in the market from the likes of Investor Place. This is not a real drawn out one, but if anything, I do want to bring it to your attention. So here we go. So here it is right here. And this was posted earlier today by Luke Lango and Charlie Shrem. So shout out to them for providing this, especially on the holiday weekend. But it basically states, weekly update, cryptos continue to stabilize before potential boom cycle. Like we've been talking about here for quite a while, right? These 4-year cycles and so on. Am I part of the minority? Has Max got it wrong? And so on. Well, after reading everything that they continuously covered, attending a few of their exclusive video sessions that they have, watching some of the recording and so on, I have come to the conclusion that I am going to basically go with the minority, which is them, on these predictions. Whether that's a good choice to do, I'm okay with doing that. For these few specific reasons that they have outlined, I'm also going to outline here for you. To me, it makes sense. I am not going to hop on the bandwagon of the whole thing of just everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket and this is never going to recover. But I will state this, I will of course be reserved to that point of view, but I'm also more reserved towards this particular point of view, not because it sounds good and it could be big for us at CTN, but because I like to reflect on the history of the market and so on and see where it's been and where it could go. There's a lot of evidence to show that this could go in a better direction. So again, thank you for joining us here tonight. And check this out. Like it mentions, we know that you are, of course, busy with holiday preparations, and we are, right? So they at Investor Place going to keep it short and sweet, and I'll try my best to do that as well. I'm going to go ahead and actually blow up this a little bit more that we can see a little bit better. So do it that big, and there you go. So it says, this week, the cryptocurrency markets continue to stabilize in the wake, of course, of that FTX collapse, right? There's a lot of news that's been going on with that and so on. But it states, while some micro or macroeconomic challenges remain, they at Investor Place basically believe that we are witnessing a pre-breakout consolidation. That is, we think cryptos have mostly bottomed and are now gaining strength for a new boom cycle in 2023. Now, I get the whole thing of, well, what about the whole Richard Hart thing? Down to 11K. There's other people who have been saying, 12K is going to be the bottom, roughly in that range and so on. I totally get where everybody's coming from in this. All I ask you is to have an open mind. And if anything, look at some of this data that we're going to present and draw your own conclusion. And if anything, you can say right in the comments, for all I care, Max, they're full of crap. And I'll go okay with that. If anything, we want to agree to disagree always. But anyway, on this particular chart, it says, ever since the FTX fiasco and subsequent crypto flash crash, Bitcoin has held its own around the 16K level. Again, we understand that, it dropped and touched 15 in that area. briefly, but it didn't consolidate into that particular area. So I just want to state that as well. It says their thesis remains the same as last week. The FTX situation was the last shoe to fall in the crypto crash of 2022. All the bad news is now fully priced into cryptos. Reversal in macroeconomic dynamics from rising inflation to falling inflation, rising yields to falling yields, rising rates to falling rates, etc., will improve risk sentiments meaningfully in 2023. These improvement sentiments will converge on discounted crypto prices to spark a new boom cycle that they expect to last into and beyond the fourth Bitcoin halving of 2024. In other words, they think that cryptos are near a local bottom before they enter a 2-year boom cycle in 2023 and, of course, 2024. Now, I understand the whole consensus. More people are on the whole, on board the train of bull run 2024 than they are 2023. And that, let's face it, that's just a reality of it. That is the mass majority from what I've seen so far. It says history is our guide in this situation. We know that cryptos tend to perform exceptionally well after the Fed stops a rate hiking cycle. The last time that happened was in early 2019. And on top, it says, uncoincidentally, Bitcoin bottomed after a multi-year bear market around the same time, then proceeded to enter a 3-year boom cycle. Now, let's take pause to recognize what's going on with this particular graph and so on. So, for instance, you see an area of, for instance, the beginning of 2018 to roughly slightly, was about, halfway to 2019 and so on, where it shows Bitcoin's bottom. And during that particular time, that's when the Fed had a pause with what they were doing, right? And of course, after that, going from 2019 to basically into 2020, you saw a lot of consolidation, and then there was a breakout. Bitcoin basically surged, and of course, remember last year's bull run? A lot of times, not a lot of times, but we had, for instance, all-time highs. Like I'm always talking about 1111, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, heck, Gala, many other ones, right? Have their all-time highs and so on. And then, of course, we have what we have going on right now, this whole crypto winter and so on. And like it mentions, it's a Fed pause. Now, currently speaking, based on this current graph, is this going to be where we have a surge, like a BTC surge and so on? That is the main question that draws concern, because is it going to be reflective based on these cycles, or is it going to go the other way? It says, we also know that cryptos tend to perform exceptionally well in the year before and after a halving event. And that is true. It's worth noting. So it says Bitcoin's halving timeline. And like you see here, this, of course, some of this data comes from, Crypto Desk, right? We used them before and so on, but look at how some of this is particular outline. So this dates all the way back, of course, to, for instance, 2011. You see, for instance, Bitcoin at $2.54 at the bottom, 365 days before the halving, which was, of course, a plus 385% increase. On top of that, it says 365 days after the halving, you basically saw a plus 8,069% increase. Now, again, we're referring, of course, strictly with Bitcoin statistics and so on for the reasons of this particular portion of the show. On top of that, you see on November 28th of 2013, that was a big monumental time. Like what we refer to, people that came into, for instance, Bitcoin, maybe in 2010, 2011, and so on. They threw $1,000 literally at Bitcoin, and they woke up 2 years later, if you will, in the year 2013 as a millionaires because of how much this went up in percentage, right? So we went up to 1,739. And then again, another perfect example, 365 days before the halving, it went up going up to plus 142%. You see that reflective on some of these particular dates, so on and so forth. You kind of see this whole trend of where it is basically going. And then, of course, by May of 2021, Bitcoin is, for instance, up to 56,612, and that was 365 days after the course the halving. It's a plus 559% increase, to say the least. Now, a little bit more in regards to this. It says, looking out over the next 2 years, we will most likely get a Fed pivot in 2023 and a halving in 2023. Therefore, two events that have historically been ultra bullish for cryptos are set to occur one after the other over the next 2 years. It only makes sense that crypto soar during that period. Why? Based off of history, based off of stats. This is not me, the crazy guy who comes on camera and just says, it's going to 1000x for no reason, or I'm going to create a thumbnail that says, 1000x and do this in front of the camera because I want clickbait. No, we base everything based off of statistics, data. And if anything, you create your own conclusion based on that. Could I be absolutely wrong with some of these predictions? Yes. Could they be wrong with some of these predictions? Yes. But 9 times out of 10, they have been right. And that's why I stick with a lot of their predictions, because if anything, one particular one that they had completely right last year that did well, you guys know the story with me, of course, was Dogecoin, Shiba Inu. But I wasn't referred to those particular cryptos because of them. But I did look into other ones, and it treated me very, very well. One great example, my third best performer last year, 2021, was CRL, Chronos. Got into it, put in 1,700, rolled that up and so on. Not all the way up to the max, but was able to turn 1,700 into 10 grand. So I do take a lot of what they say and basically look more into it and so on. And hence why I, show this to you guys, because I feel as though it's premium content and I want to be able to provide that to you guys here at CTN. Now, last but not least, before we kick it back into the comments, it says, for instance, it only makes sense that crypto soared during that period. We remain committed to our boom cycle 2023 thesis, and I'm going to continue to stick with this because to me it just simply makes sense, and believe that now is a good time to start building, for instance, the crypto shopping list. Hence why the thumbnail is also, Black Friday and so on, because if anything, Black Friday is a day people just go out and buy stuff on sale. Am I saying for you to go out and buy everything on sale right now? No, can't give you financial advice. And then they could very well go further down from there. But if anything, it was a nice thumbnail and I thought, why not? So it says, as soon as the price action starts to improve and Bitcoin shows us that it wants to actually enter a new boom cycle, likely within the next few months, we will be become big buyers of course crypto. Again, recognize, your certain projects that you were thinking about getting into and so on. There's going to be ones that make sense depending on price action and so on, and ones that simply don't. Do not just blanket them all and just say, everything's going to be fine, because, some of them have certain levels of resistance and support and some don't. But if you have noticed on certain particular ones, here's a great example, Vet, right? They did break support. Now they're in the ones. All right. So if you were never into Vet, maybe that'd be a good one to consider at that particular price range. This says, until then, folks, of course, we're all going to enjoy our holiday and so on. A couple key things I want to announce, basically, because we do talk about Chili's here, and before we kick it into the comments. It says that Chili's testnet phase 5 is live, which is going to create a positive catalyst, to say the least. Individuals can now stake their Chili's and participate in governance on the testnet. And reality is that by people doing so, it does take it temporarily out of the circulation due to staking. And if anything, that could be a positive thing for Chili's. In regards to Polygon, there's some brief news that we have for you guys in regards to that. Magic Eden announced Polygon integration. The leading Solana marketplace has added support for its third chain after adding, of course, ETH to support in August. And then this last one, Uniswap introduces a universal router and permit 2. The new universal router smart contract enables users to basically exchange multiple tokens and NFTs in a single swap, keeping fees lower and saving time. Permit 2 enables cross dApps to basically for token approvals, which of course should improve security and ease of use. All right, glad to be able to share that with you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it back into the comments. I'll fix my screen here. Next up, we have in the comments, Boomer F and Cerners basically says 0. I think referring, of course, to that whole Shinobi thing. XXI Gaming. Max, what do you think about Hex's Richard Hart's coin? Haven't heard about that, believe it or not. That's news to me. And of course, I do follow the likes of him and so on with what he's doing. But yeah, I'll have to look more into that. Lawrence Adkins, I saw a couple of your guys aping into Pulse Trump coin. 10% Volt in your rewards is nice. All right, yeah, I'll have to find out which guys who basically did that and so on. Let me know what you guys think. I did see some more info in regards to Volt earlier today with the whole thing with having that mechanism apparently to burn XRP. Really? That sounds pretty huge, man. I mean, of course, I need to look more into that for myself, but that's big. Tim Shea states, I just checked Bitmart and my Shinja no longer shows up at all. Hopefully it's just migration process. I would think that's definitely would be the case. They don't want you to take access to something, you know what I mean, if they're going to migrate it, because if anything, it's like then you create a ticket, you and a whole bunch of other people, not specifically you, right? But I imagine it just takes some of those problems out of the equation. But a lot of times, I mean, I don't know if you get any of the notifications, whatnot. They'll mention some of these things that they're going to do to give users a heads up, but maybe they didn't. Tim Shea says, "Hello, Lawrence Coochie Boy. You got to scroll down to the S's, Shay. Diggs, by the way, 7 BTW7. Hey, what's up, G? Well, good to see you, Diggs BTW7 coming from Twitch. That's good to get some people from Twitch. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Diggs BTW7, never seen you here before. If anything, guys, let's go ahead and welcome him. If you have any questions or comments and so on, we have a very welcoming community. Let's go ahead and welcome Diggs. All right, Michael Montclair's in the house, says hello to everybody. Glad to have you here, Michael. Hopefully you're enjoying your Thanksgiving holiday weekend. And Z states, don't forget, Max, Elon started this acceptance of cryptocurrency into his companies, and then after it pumped, he sold out and told everyone that he won't be accepting anymore, and then started to. Well, it's a good point, but he's Elon Musk, man, and he does a lot of things that let's face it, he's not on the bandwagon of trying to appease everybody. He's looking out for, like, he's going to do his own thing. Is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes that's on board with it, what everybody else wants, and sometimes it's not. Coochie Boy, small balances don't show at the top of assets. All right, Tim Shea, Coochie Boy, it was up top before, it is way down, like the SS you said. Old, okay, about $60. All right, just going down through a few more comments, and then I'm going to kick it into some of the Ripple XRP news we have for you guys. Calvin basically states, it's just another crypto moment in time. Love it. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Appreciate Calvin. Coochie Boy, all the zero balances that hasn't migrated and the rugs, I believe, still show as a zero. Yeah, that's a good point. Marshawn Lynch. Oh, man. Yeah, the football player, huh? With hexagons behind Pulse Trump, I think it will outperform Crow in the next few months. Man, that's a pretty bold statement. But thank you for joining us here. Marshawn Lynch, the great football player. So, yeah, thank you very much. Tim Shea, take care, Calvin. Yeah, see, Calvin, hopefully you're going to enjoy the rest of your weekend and so on. Hopefully you don't have to work over the weekend. But if you do, that's okay. I used to work like every single day, 3 jobs, man. It was insane. Tim Shea, I really don't like Bitmart. I only got onto it because gas fees were so high before. I don't like Bitmart either. But my crap coins are basically on Bitmart. Because a lot of times it was just an easy outlet to get your crap coins, if you will, on their particular exchange. So, but that's a good point about the whole, gas fees were so high before. Yeah. They were. I mean, I remember as high as $300+ on some of these ones I wanted to get into last bull run. Just with ETH gas fees. All right, Boomer F and Sooner. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, Coochie Boy. Bitmart gets new token ahead of most others. Yeah, I think if anything, with their team, they pay attention a lot to some of these listings, like I was mentioning earlier. Like the likes of CoinGecko, PooCoin, some of these other ones, and so on. They keep close look at that. But you also got to keep in mind it's some of those projects reaching out to them because the listings on that particular change for Bitmart is significantly cheaper compared to going with like some big, exchanges and so on. So, all right. I don't like Bitmart either. Too damn confusing, says Boomer F and Sooner. It is, as far as their app. Uh, like the whole thing of, where your assets are, and then hitting spot training, and then the pairing, and it's not very user friendly. I mean, you shouldn't have to. I mean, I get the whole thing, right? Let's face it, right? We get something we want. If you're like me, you got to play around with it to figure it out. But for somebody who's just completely new to crypto, to jump into the likes of Bitmart, I wouldn't recommend it at all. Like, it's just not that type of user friendly for a novice user. Michael Montclair, migration is on to Shinja 2. Go to the migration site. Yeah, I already did that. Already got up mine all migrated over because I only had mine on Coinbase wallet. So it's really easy. Coochie Boy, Bitmart simple. He likes it. Okay. Tim Shea, hey Diggs, Coochie Boy. Once you learn how to move from spot to sell wallet, it gets easier. That is true. But the whole thing, I'm looking at it from the perspective of like just a brand new user, like just brand new to crypto and so on. That would be pretty intimidating. But let's face it, it is pretty intimidating from the point of view on all this, especially if you're like the person that just went from literally like, Robin Hood to something like that, but teaches them. All right. Pulse chain, Jack Clapp. Oh, thank God I don't have to say, it's like Larry would say, Pulse chain, Jack Clapp, P hex, E hex, blockchain nodes. You get where I'm coming from. Good to see you, Jack. Says, lol, you guys know all the gems. I got some Pulse Trump yesterday. Okay. Max, do you have any upcoming airdrops on your radar? The Aptos was solid. It was solid. Huh. No, I don't have any particular airdrops on my radar. I still get my bi-monthly airdrops of my Ape NFT, airdrops and so on. I'm kind of on the fence of about increasing my position. I mean, I have a lot of that, but it's like I'm looking at it like from the perspective, Ape NFT had never went to any significant all-time high. And I'm also looking at it from the perspective of like, there's always those particular ones that fly under the radar and then do a crazy pump out of nowhere. Shout out to XXI Gaming's Stratos, for instance. And I'm like, just kind of got that itch of saying, maybe I should just put just a little bit on this. And if anything, that wouldn't really be an investment, would it? It'd be more of a gamble. And I'm more towards trying to just do that, invest, because I already did so many of these ones. To a sense is gambling, because I mean some of these meme coins and so on. But no, to answer your question, I don't have any ones on my particular radar as far as airdrops and whatnot. The only ones I've been continuously getting airdropped is my Ape NFT, and it's just just that for rewards for holding BTT on KuCoin, and then also my Wink, which I'm looking to get out completely from Wink. I do not recommend Wink to anybody at this point. But in that bull run, I feel as though they'll finally go up to a new all-time high. And then after that, I am not keeping a moon bag. I'm getting out. But I don't know if anybody here holds Wink. I don't really talk about Wink much here, rightfully so. But anybody here in our community, any of you guys hold Wink, WINK, the WIN token? Just wondering. Thank you for getting the algorithm going, Salamander. Coochie Boy says, he was stumped at first. Now he knows you must transfer from spot to sell wallet to sell. Yeah, well, that was the whole thing. Going from that step. Think how many other people were stumped. Let's face it, my friend. It's not really that incredibly user friendly. Now that we're used to it, then it's like it's no big deal. Kind of like me and KuCoin. For me, I'm like KuCoin's not that big of a deal. But there's always that other person out there. It's like, dude, they hate KuCoin. It's not user friendly, et cetera, et cetera. And that even applies to the app, not even, both the website and the app. So, it's like, why aren't these companies doing more to hire, I guess you could say, a dev team to make things more user friendly, for the API and so on? I don't know, but they don't do that. They put their focus on other things. Excuse me. All right, Boomer F is sooner. I'll figure out Bitmart when I have something in there worth more than $5. Yeah, it's your time. Your time is money, right? So I mean, if you just got crypto dust in there, it's like, is it even worth your time at this point? No, probably not. But if everything went to, I'll put it this way: we get back in a bull market, you see things increasing, and you of course you have a way of keeping track of your portfolio, like on CMC and so on. And you see things going on, then that would be the time, obviously, to mess with it. Because if anything, if you're not gonna mess with it until then anyway, then you're just gonna forget. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. I'm just saying. All right, going a little bit further down. Thank you for getting that algorithm working. Elbow cough. Yeah, I haven't done that in a while. Takeout. Haven't had takeout in a long time. I've been cooking a lot at home, trying to save money. Why? More money towards crypto. That's what it's all about. All right. Daniel Delgado. Buenos noches. Yes. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias, mi amigo. Me llamo Max. I did see you on the recorded from the quant videos. Guys, I'm telling you, some of this quant video coverage is definitely helping. Another person from the recorded has joined us here on the live. Thank you. Muchas gracias for being here tonight, Daniel Delgado. I recognize people from the recorded, and I do mention one of the nice compliments that you gave us was that we are now in your top 3 for crypto coverage. That is like the best compliment anybody can get. So from one crypto brother to another, thank you again for being here. Guys, let's give Daniel Delgado, the warm CTN network, welcome. And again, any questions, comments you have, Daniel, feel free to ask it. All right. Salamander says, Buenas noches. Tim Shade, no wink. I have Spank, though. Huh. Pulse Chain, Jack Clap, Dark Horse, Layer 1s you like. Oh, man. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. I've actually been looking into, as of lately, Marlin Pond, which is supposed to be a Layer 0, if you can imagine that. So, yeah, there's that. So, but no. None that I know of at the moment, but maybe some other guys could basically mention that. I'm going to go ahead and highlight your comment if I don't lose my spot. Guys, let's kick it into the next portion of our live coverage here at CTN. We're going to get into, for instance, XRP. So here we have it for you. And this comes straight from Bitcoin.com. And if anything, I mean, it was posted like a couple days ago, but I wanted to, of course, share it with you guys because I haven't been on for the last couple days. Larry was here. But as you can see, it says Ripple CEO optimistic crypto industry will be stronger after the FTX fiasco if transparency and trust remains its focus. Again, this is part of an outline I'm trying to do for you guys in reference, of course, to what Luke Lango and Charlie Shrem basically posted over at Investor Place and so on. It's not just hearing it from them. You're literally hearing it from Ripple CEO and so on. But if anything, check out this right here. It says, for instance, they're optimistic about the FTX meltdown, but it says, for instance, Brad Garlinghouse shares opinion on Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving, on the crypto industry's recovery following, of course, the collapse of FTX during the Ripple swell, an annual conference held by Ripple. And on top of that, FTX, of course, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy last week, reiterating that he said on stage at the conference, Garlinghouse tweeted specifically this, states, I firmly believe that crypto will be stronger because of this. If we keep focusing on transparency and trust, Ripple has and will continue to lead this regard. And then, quote, with all this happening in the past few weeks, and over the course of this year's ups and downs, it feels even more imperative that we've gathered together in person to have honest conversations of solving real-world problems with crypto and blockchain, he wrote, of course, in a follow-up tweet. In regards to what he said in his coverage with CNBC Wednesday, he basically liked the idea that crypto is not that the idea that crypto is not regulated, he stated, is just that, overstated, by adding, quote, crypto has never been sunshine and roses as an industry. It needs to mature, of course, build trust. And I think that's basically where we're at. As long as we get more of this transparency and trust, there will be more buyer confidence and so on. And if anything, the main thing that's missing for my key takeaway of some of this interview was, think about the whole thing with FTX. It's retail investor lack of confidence at this point. We lost quite a few investors as a result. The market's reflective on it. But the shift is what's going on as we speak. The confidence when it comes to innovative products and services, like what's going on with Ripple's XRPL and so on, with what they got going on with, for instance, CBDCs. You have, for instance, the likes of Quant. Again, the key takeaway I want to give you guys is this. the tokenization of digital assets. Almost all of those, the central banks, you name it, are on board when it comes to this. They're not part of the retail investor point of view or perspective. A little bit more in regards to all this. For instance, it says, regarding the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's lawsuit against Ripple, Garlinghouse, and also Chris Larson, who are co-founders, over the sale of XRP, both Alderati and Garlinghouse expect a ruling on the case to arrive in the first half of 2023. Why? Listen to this, because final legal briefings are due by November 30th, after which a judge can either make a ruling or refer it to a jury trial. Quote, we are at the beginning of the end of the process in our case, Alderati basically stated. So again, I feel as though that this thing is going to come to a close. And with all of, for instance, the amicus briefs, literally we have a grocery list of what's going on with that. Multiply that with some of the bad press that the likes of, for instance, Gary Gensler's been getting and so on. And if they were able to prove that he had anything to do with this, with his connections to Sam Bankman-Fried and so on, I just think, if anything, there is no way in hell it's going to go to jury if that ends up being the case. So I wanted to, of course, show that to you guys briefly. I'm going to kick it back into the comments just for a bit and do this whole 5 minutes in, 5 minutes out, and we'll kick it back into some more XRP news. Up next, we have Z. Max, I truly love and miss you, big dog. My phone is about to die. Don't have a charger. Have a good night, big dog. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate the love and support, Z, and I'm hoping that you're doing well, you and your family and so on, with your Thanksgiving Day holiday weekend and so on. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's always good to see a familiar face. Speaking of familiar faces, Linois in the house. He says, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Linois, who is, let's face it, man, you have a great holding of, was it Quant and a few others and so on. Thank you again for being here, and hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. Tim Shea says, hey, Linois, same with Coochie Boy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, and we're going to go ahead and kick it more into our XRP coverage that we have for you guys tonight. So this next one actually is a video, so I got to share this in a different way. My bad on that. So a lot of times I remember my place, but sometimes when it's a video, I got to share it a different way. So like you see right here, it says James Wallace, Vice President of Central Bank Engagements and CBDCs at Ripple, took the stage on day one of Swell Global to discuss why the technology that powers the XRP ledger is primed for central bank digital currencies, aka CBDCs, and exactly who will need to strategize for a CBDC in the future. This is 1 minute, and let's go ahead and hear this, and then we'll kick it right back.
XRP Ledger is, world-leading public blockchain, which is built for payments and issuing currencies. So it's a natural fit for CBDCs. We've taken that and basically providing a private version of that for the central banks. Something that's going to be absolutely critical for the success of CBDCs and the adoption of them is the relationship between the public sector and the private sector. As I mentioned earlier, we view that the public sector, the central banks working with the government, will be the designers, the rule setters in terms of policy, and the implementers of the platform for the core capabilities around wholesale and retail CBDC, but that the use cases will come from the private sector. The list just goes on and on and on. There's literally endless potential use cases.
Endless potential use cases. And with that said, while there is endless potential use cases, you're now seeing things, for instance, let me go ahead and stop the share real quick, but you're hearing the cases, for instance, not just for what's going on in the financial sector of things when it comes to the likes of Ripple's XRP and whatnot, but you're now also seeing things, for instance, with real estate, for crying out loud. We covered that here recently. There's another one with the tokenization of real estate assets and so on, and how XRP is tied into that whatnot. It's huge. It shows there's so many different, just like I was mentioning, use cases for what they have going on with everything they got connected to. It's massive. Next comment is Salamander, the XDC commander. He says, "Happy Thanksgiving, Max. $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Really, really appreciate you guys. I didn't have a chance to just do, what I'm basically thankful for. So for me personally, I just want to state, I'm more than thankful for what we got here going on at CTN. Of course, people like yourself, the loyal, people that we have that basically support us day in and day out. You guys know who you are, especially. And it's so nice to see how we've been growing as a community and so on, where we've been, where we're currently at, and what we have for the outlook of the future going forward. Like I always tell Larry, for instance, with our coverage that we have here at CTN, we've never been able to do it in a bull market. And that's what excites me, because if anything, it's just like, again, kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel and whatnot. But even me personally, I mean, yesterday when I celebrated Thanksgiving, it was just, my dad and I and whatnot. But my dad's really up there in age. I mean, he's 88 years old. He's basically old enough to be my grandfather. I'm 41. My mom, she passed away from stage 4 breast cancer that spread into her spine, the rest of her body, back in January of 2013. She fought that battle for 6 years and 4 months. My mom was basically my best friend, my everything. I mean, I still love and miss her and so on. And, one of the things was how do you get through some of these tough times? Where we live, we have no family down here. It's just basically him and I and so on. But, I have a small handful of really good friends and whatnot. And I'm just really thankful for, the good people I have in my life. I'm really thankful for the experience I've gone through in crypto, what I've been able to learn, some of the relationships that I basically have made, during some of these times. And for what it's worth, I'm even thankful for, some of the bad things that I guess you could say that's happened, even with, my crypto journey. Why? Because if anything, it educated me that much more on things to get into and what to stay away from and so on. So I'm sure I got a grocery list of other things I'm thankful for and whatnot, but I'm really glad and thankful to have you guys here with us tonight. It does mean a lot and so on. I know the ones that have been here with us for many months and so on. Basically, it's my 7th month here, a little over 7 months now here with Larry at CTN and so on. And the way I look at it is I'm going to be more than glad to be here with him and so on into the future with what we have planned for our network and so on. So again, thank you, Salamander. I hope that you had a great, happy Thanksgiving as well. And I just want to state more than thankful, of course, for the $5 super chat. And of course, hats off to you again, my friend, with your XDC position that you have, a little over 1 million. That's monumental. All right, Coochie Boy. Chili's up to 150 APY stake on Bitcoin. I know. And here's what's just so frustrating about that. What's the state? That's not available to Americans. That's frustrating. Another thing was frustrating, I saw, for instance, a while back, they even had Ape, right? Ape coin. I think it was 150%. Can't take advantage of it unless you're American. So for some of my, international friends and so on, like my friend Jerry that comes here once in a while, I told him, I was just like, look, your wife is tied to Mexico and her family and so on. They have a Mexican address. I would totally do the whole KYC with somebody like that, work something like that, something out like that, especially in this bear market. Get whatever cryptos that you were interested in and stake it with that and just hold it in this bear market until we get into a bull market and so on. But I understand it's not as easy as just that and so on. And some people don't want to go jump through all the hoops. But isn't that frustrating with crypto regulation and so on that we can't have that, something high like that here? Anyway, Kendall Sanders, post-Trump to launch on Palm Chain. How? Didn't know they had BNB coins. I don't have the answer to that particular one, but I know there's a few guys that are into that. They could particularly answer that. I do hold a little bit of Volt myself. I I said, Volt. I know you referred to like Hex and Pulse and Trump and all that. My bad. But I don't hold any Hex. A while back, I was thinking about getting into Hex, and I didn't yet. I still on my list to basically get into that, but maybe somebody else here can answer that for you. I do like that you have the Rambo $20 bills. Those are pretty interesting to say the least. But thank you for joining us, Kendall. I've never seen you here before, and guys, let's go ahead and give Kendall the CTN warm welcome. Appreciate you being here. Mr. No Face is in the house. Hashtag CTN with Maximum Crypto. Well, Maximus Crypto, but that's all right. Thankful for today. We'll be grateful for tomorrow. Thank you for that. Kendall Sanders. We love Max and his mom. Well, thanks, man. I mean, she's in heaven. We'll see her again, but not now. Got to live my own life. And I'm going to try to do the best as I can and so on. I'm trying to get things set up so I can create generational wealth. And that's my main thing. I'm just... there's a few that I want to do for swing trades just to have extra money and whatnot, but most of the ones I'm into in my portfolio, which consists about 45 to 46 different crypto projects, is basically for the long term. Some of this, ones are, with ISO, XRP, XLM, XDC, Quant. I would love to become a Quant maxi, if you will, but it's expensive. It's very, very expensive. But of course, I'm into a lot of other ones. I've seen a lot of you guys seen it yourself. I mean, 2Bit did a good job on his recent video outlining what's going on with Kronos, crypto.com and so on, like to $1, classic crypto and so on. I think we're going to be more than fine. There's so much FUD that basically happened recently with the whole thing with crypto.com and so on. And man, they came back with some great responses, them as in crypto.com, the CEO and so on. I think we're going to be more than fine, and that's good. It's good to see that. I don't want to root, kind of like what Richard Common Sense Crypto said on some of his recent recordings from about roughly 1 to 2 weeks ago with the whole FTX fiasco. It's like, why would anybody want to root for a collapse of an exchange? That's like a big loss, if you will. If you're rooting for that, like, you need to ask yourself, take a real big look in the mirror. I mean, like, why would I root for somebody to lose their life savings on certain things for the gain of a select few others and so on? Yeah, we talk about distressed assets and get investing in particular exchanges that had the potential doing well. Hell, VGX is a big one, right? Like, even myself, VGX was probably one of the biggest money makers for me this year with everything that's happened this crypto winter. That's sad. That's sad. Why is it sad? Because the times that we're in, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, it's sad as far as my portfolio goes, and it's also sad, that, again, just the times that we're in and so on. But yeah, we will definitely point out, distressed assets. I think distressed assets definitely need a more of a closer look at, whether it's VGX, some of these other ones, and so on. I am waiting a little bit more for VGX to go down, and I'm thinking about really, really getting back into it because it was one of the best performers for me this year. But teach his own. Everybody has ones that they're eyeballing and whatnot. It's just the way I looked at it. I mean, VGX was not too shabby for me. 40 cents, got out $1.04. Some people are still holding on to. I mean, I know even Larry's still holding on to his VGX. He might even have more of it than I do, or I had. So I don't know. Hey, No Face. But yes, thanks again for that. Really appreciate that, Kendall. Tim Shea says hello to No Face. Michael Montclair, stage 2 lymphoma. I survived. Sorry for your loss, Max. Well, I'm glad that you survived from that. I really, really mean that. Cancer is something that has affected my family on both sides. It sucks. And of course, I'm going to have to, get looked at, for instance, when I hit 45 for, the whole thing with prostrate and so on. So, I mean, it took both my grandparents, they could have lived a lot longer. My grandmother died from terminal pancreatic cancer when I was like, before I turned 13. And I was really close to my grandma. And then within a year later, I took my grandfather. He ended up getting prostate cancer. And then on top of that, was it back in 2012? My aunt, she died of lung cancer. She never even smoked, but she lived in Manila. And all the complaints of some of the complaints that we have, right, or gripes of having going down to emissions and stuff like that. Like, it's a pain in the butt, right? Imagine living in a place where there's no emissions, right? Don't get me wrong. Like, my friend lives in Washington State, and apparently there's like the emissions that they have there is different, totally different. But I'm talking about, imagine living in the place where there's literally no care, no emissions. Like, there's just the worst. You think LA is bad? If you've ever been to LA, the smog, it is bad. Don't get me wrong. Imagine going to a place like Manila. Like, my dad was telling me about. He was like, my mom and him were next to like a bus stop in Manila, and he saw this bus come right by, and he tells my mom, he says, "Hold your breath." And he grabs her, and she holds her breath, and he holds her breath, or he holds his breath as well. Why? Because a huge black smoke cloud came out. Now, you got to keep in mind, my aunt, right? She lived in like, she did work for like, it's kind of like as a paralegal for many, many years. And her office was like right next to like this high traffic, polluted nonsense. And she died at like, I think the age of, oh man, I don't know. It was like 54, something like that, 54, 55. It's too young. And she never smoked a cigarette ever, right? Died of lung cancer. It's just like so disappointing. And then, of course, my mom ended up getting not lung cancer. Well, eventually, because it spread to her lungs as well. But yeah, cancer is something on both sides of our family. So my aunt, and of course, my mom, it just sucks. And then my other aunt, who came down to visit when that whole thing happened, she ended up getting cancer in her, it was like in her throat, not really throat. What was it called? I forgot the name of this. Thyroid. And then, but it wasn't, they caught it early and so on, but then it came back and caught it again. My uncle, he's not even blood related to me, right? It's her husband. He ended up getting cancer in his prostate. He's got stage 3. So this sucks, man. Freaking, we all hate cancer. Let's face it. I know I went on a tangent on that. It's very frustrating. All right, Mr. No Face, CTN, thankful. Thank you, Mr. No Face. Right back to you as well. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Hey, Kendall, do you work for Pulse? That's a good point. Crypto Winter, happy Turkey late day, everyone. Hopefully you had a good Turkey day. Crypto Winter, good to see you as usual. Coochie Boy saying what's up to Crypto Winter, and Humpty. Crypto Winter is saying, what's up, fam? Holding my 300 Atom, staking them in the Cosmos Hub Station, voting on Luna Classic in there at the same time. Like I mentioned before, I think the whole thing with Atom, Cosmos is very underrated. And if anything, that provides a huge positive catalyst to Luna Classic and whatnot. And even not looking at it from the Luna Classic perspective and so on, like, I feel as though even just holding some Atom like you have, Atom is very, in my opinion, very underrated in a bull market. You look out for big things with that, especially with what they got going on in the future. I mean, we saw, for instance, Atom go down roughly in the $9 and was it 70-cent area, roughly in that range. So below $10 for Atom. That's a steal, in my opinion. Yeah, it could go even further down, like people talk about, the bottom for everything, but still, even at these prices compared to where they used to be, it's still a steal. That's just my opinion. All right, Mr. No Face, no Max, you are the maximum. Okay, thanks. I have energy today. A very good day. Thankful for this space and everyone that makes it what it is. CTN. Well, thanks, Mr. No Face. Appreciate that. Yeah. It's nice to get feedback like that and so on. So, thank you for always supporting us here at CTN. We really appreciate you as always. Crypto Winter states, we voted for Luna Classic to get its millions of dollars to be released back to them and connect them back to everyone who knew Atom or the Cosmos Network had also so much power. That's a good point. Tim Shea, I do see Salamander. I do see Salamander's your super chat. I'm gonna get to it in just a second because I'm just so close to it. It'd be better if I just did it this way, that way I don't lose my spot. Tim Shea states VGX is going on US Binance is the latest. I did see the whole thing with Binance and so on, but I of course don't want to get into it right at these particular price levels and so on. I want to wait to see if it gets fully implemented, and then I'll make a decision from there, but not maybe right at that moment. Tim Shea says Michael. Daniel Delgado, your thoughts on ALBT? I think it's a great one. We outlined it here before here at CTN as far as those ISOs. Larry is even wanting to add that to his particular portfolio. And I know, like, guys, I get it. Larry, we joke around with him and so on, like, dang, Larry, like, when are you gonna finally buy some stuff and so on? But with everything that's been happening lately with the whole market and so on, for him, as long as he's been waiting and whatnot, I mean, let's face it, when he finally comes in and decides to get some of the stuff, I mean, he came in a lot lower than we did. So, I mean, I think if Brian Dowey was here, he would even admit, good credit where credit's due and so on, recognize he did come to a more of a bottom, if you will. But, for us who do have some of these particular ones, ALBT, I don't personally have ALBT yet. It's definitely on my short list. And I feel as though the Alliance blockchain is definitely one that really, really stands out. Very, very undervalued on the ISOs. ALBT, just to answer your question, I know I'm a little all over the place on this, but ALBT, Casper, those are two on my short list for sure when it comes to the ISOs and so on. But I'm also looking at it from the perspective of what I see coming up here on the near, and that is basically everything with XRP and Stellar Lumens especially. And of course, if you probably didn't see this yourself because I know you just recently came here, but I doubled my position with my Stellar Lumens because it made more sense at these price levels, right? Like 8.5 cents for Stellar Lumens compared to XRP at, like, I think it was at the time like 35, 37 cents. To me, that made more sense for me to just simply double my position. And I basically did that because originally I got into Stellar Lumens. I've been into it twice. So the second time around, my second bag, when I DCA'd into it, I came in at roughly like 26, 28 cents, something like that. And to see it roughly at 8.5 cents, to me, it was just like a no-brainer. Like, literally, I could double my position of my holdings at this price level. And I just went with it. But ALBT is right there with it. I mean, but again, I'm looking at it from the perspective of Stellar Lumens and XRP, I think, are going to be the first to really do big things coming up in 2023 with this whole thing of, like, for instance, March and ISO 222, the mandate, that type of compliancy and so on. And then, of course, I look for a lot of these other ones to do well. Casper, some of you guys talk about, for instance, LCX. LCX to me also makes a lot of sense because, that's exchange and so on. So it's just a lot to discuss. Not enough time on maybe we will do something like that maybe on the next particular show. Just put some focus on those particular ones. But those are some of my brief thoughts on it and so on. And then I know Tim Shea could tell you a lot more about his thoughts on ALBT. He's always talking about, like, if I put out a quant video, he basically mentions in the comments, quant, ALBT are the ones that he consistently, DCAs into, and rightfully so. But thank you for that question, Daniel. And again, thank you so much for joining us on the live, coming from record, join us on the live. That tells me that these recordings are, of course, working, and they are. We're getting subscriptions and so on, people and whatnot. But it does mean a lot to have somebody like yourself join us here tonight. Appreciate it. All right, Salamander, back to your $5 super chat. Thanks again for the $5 super chat. He says, sorry, Max, I also lost my mom from cancer. Oh, no. She was 33 years old, and I was 12 years old. Yeah, it's heart-wrenching, man. I mean, I don't know. I basically look at, like, my life, like, especially certain individuals like my grandparents. I mean, I understand that they were really up there in age and so on, but even then, it's like, if my grandparents didn't get cancer and could have lived at least another 10 years, how significant that could have been in my life. Like, I know for a fact, if my grandparents didn't pass away during the time they did, we would never move to Arizona. Like, and how much or different our lives would have been if we would have stayed, like, for instance, Oregon. And I don't know, man. I look at so many different perspectives of, like, how life is and so on. So I don't know if you guys ever seen that show called what's it called? This Is Life, or I don't know if that's the name of it. This Is Us. That's a really good show about, like, different perspectives of, like, life and how certain things happen with somebody's life that could affect literally the whole family and take people into a whole different direction and causes chain reactions of, it gets really deep. But I'm really sorry about your mom losing that, for instance, passing away at 33. That's, for me, my mom had me when she was 33. You know, like she met my dad when she was 28, and they waited about 4 years um, to have their first child, which was me. And so that's something else. 33. Yeah, my mom passed away when she was 70. So I mean, she was in perfect health before she got cancer. Like she was a person, she could live to be over 100. Same with my grandmother. Anyway, cancer sucks, man. But thank you again for the $5 super chats, Salamander, and thank you for your empathy. And you know, I have empathy towards you as well, man. This well, there's can't. I mean, there's so many things. Like my girlfriend, she has type 2 diabetes, and she struggles with that. And she has, for instance, spinal stenosis, and she definitely struggles with that as well. It's just there's so many things, not just cancer, man. It just sucks. All right, crypto winner Adam found a bottom in June at $5. If you bought then, you were paid today. Yeah, that's a good point. You're more than you're about close to a 2x. That's crazy. All right, Tim Shea, Salman. I lost my dad around that age. Losing your parents is very tough. Yeah, it is. I didn't realize that. So, we all have different stories and different things to share. Thank you for sharing that, Tim. Sorry to hear about that, man. Daniel, ALBT is the real deal. I feel so, as well. Tim Shea says he already took profits on ALBT. Daniel says he hopes so. Yeah, for me, I mean, a lot of these are just simply long-term holds, but there's nothing wrong with taking profits. And good that you guys took profits when you did, especially like before entering into a crypto winter, right? Mr. No Face, Larry's strategy is as effective, if not more so. His aura just disguises the brilliance. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, he takes some heat, just joking around, with the whole thing of, like, come on, Larry, don't you have any crypto? Trust me, he has crypto. Like, he definitely has some crypto and so on. So, I mean, some people say, like, you never buy no crypto. Well, just because he ain't tweeting about it as much as maybe I am or someone like, hey, I want bought this, that, and this and so on. I mean, we all have our reasons. But, he's knowledgeable about crypto. He knows about crypto. And there's a few ones that he got into and so on. I mean, yeah, he got into a lot of, as I would say, the puppy dogs and so on of last year. And you know what? A lot of people did. And let's face it, for a lot of you guys that are here right now, maybe that was like most of your portfolio. Whatever the case is, it's part of your crypto journey. It's just we live, we learn, and we go from there. All right. Speaking of crypto winner, aka Badir, says, "Hey, remember I was asking about Wrap Bitcoin only having 273,457 coins left recirculation, and now it depegs from BTC. I knew it was sus. It has depegged from BTC, huh? That's interesting. Well, I know it's still worth quite a bit. Tim Shea, I probably will reinvest it. I bought some XDB with it for now. Yeah, I know you've been mentioning XDB quite a bit. Tim Shea says this is the US. It is a very emotional show. This is Us is a very emotional show. Yes, it is a very emotional show. It's a good show. I haven't finished it yet. I'm in the final season. I was going to try to finish the rest with my girlfriend sometime, but we haven't had a lot of time to be around each other and so on, but teach is on. Daniel Delgado, it's all good. Let it out. We are here to listen to good projects. And the ingredients we learn in the recipe of life is bonus spiritual portfolio. Well, thanks, Daniel. I mean, it's not like you're a guy that's kind of, you experience quite a bit of life yourself. So we appreciate that, man. And I really wanted to state, I appreciate just even hearing you say things like that. So thank you for that. It's not just about just strictly like crypto, right? Like we're all human beings. We got to share what's going on with the real world and life. So thank you. Crypto Winner says, your thoughts on Chihuahua. I have no thoughts on Chihuahua. Is that a new puppy dog token? Huh. Coochie Boy says he also lost his dad when he was around 8 from some form of carcinoma. Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Really. Yeah. See, I mean, it is a crazy world we live in. Like there's so many different stories. Like a lot of us, my thing is like, when you yourself are personally going through a hard time and like you're just, I don't know, man, like a lot of us, like we keep a lot of things inside and we don't want to share that necessarily with people. Some people do, some people don't. It's like really reserved. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen. I'm sure some of you guys have, and you want to kind of like open up to somebody, and the way you open up is they want to one up you. Like, I understand the whole thing of people will say, well, been there, done that. But there's a difference between saying been there, done that, and also showing like empathy and understanding and showing like, you know what, I have been through what you're going through, but I'm not trying to necessarily one up you. I'm trying to help you understand I can relate to what you're going through. It's kind of like the way it's said, if you will. I think you get where I'm coming from. All right, Coochie Boy. All right. Crypto winner, Larry. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Coochie Boy. I'm sorry, I meant to say that. Crypto winner, Larry, same, sure, has say, yeah. Well, I had Saitama too. I still have Saitama. Can't just rag on him. I have like $4,000 into Saitama. But I can just focus on Saitama, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to sell it. I'm still waiting. Like, again, like I mentioned to you guys, I'm going to hold that darn thing until a lot of these things pump, like the crumbs start pumping, Saitama, some of these other ones. Because I have hope that I could eventually get out of it, maybe for a profit, right? Maybe. And I'm not keeping a moon bag. I'll look back and be out of it and be glad to be done with it. So, all right. Coochie Boy says, thanks. You're welcome. Crypto Winner, you know it's not me typing if there's no misspelling. Okay. Tim Shea, Humpty, is that Chihuahua a real thing? Yeah, is it a real thing? That's what I'm asking too. All right. I know there's just a few people here, but that's okay. I still want to get into some of our coverage that we have here tonight. There's a few more, and I'm gonna share this particular guy because what he has to say is pretty good. Some of the stuff he shares is kind of like, some people look at it like it's kind of kooky or whatever. It's all right. He's just trying to be himself. But let's go ahead and share this. It's from Coach JV in regards to XRP. Yeah, you know me. It says XRP, the future of the global financial system. I didn't create the game, but I'm now willing to be played by it. Know the game, so you can't be played. It says this will be one of the biggest changes we will see in our living history. It's about 3 minutes, but listen to the message. Makes a lot of sense. And of course, we'll be back.
As everything seems to be collapsing in the cryptocurrency space, there's so much FUD in the market. And at the same time, there's a company that is literally forging forward like a freight train. For over 3 years on my YouTube channel, I've always stuck with real world solve investments, whether it's blockchain, business, or things like leveraged life insurance. Now, this is not investment advice. I'm just sharing with you facts, figures, numbers, logic. Ripple, the company who's being sued by the SEC, is forging forward as FTX collapsed, Celsius collapsed. We had a stable coin that collapsed, and there could be other black swans within the crypto space. But as everybody made fun of us for investing in the banker coin XRP, have you taken a look at Ripple's balance sheet and what Brad Garlinghouse just said and what Rosie Rios just did a video on, who is on the board of directors coming from the Treasury, should allow you to understand that the game is about to change. So Brad Garlinghouse said, yes, there's an American company just waiting, chomping at the bit, I'm paraphrasing, called Bank of America. Bank of America is one of the biggest companies in America and globally. And all Bank of America is waiting for the SEC case to settle to launch their on-demand liquidity, and they will have a competitive advantage over every bank in America. Rosie Rios also just did a video, which is in my link in my bio on my YouTube channel, where she talks about the fact that blockchain is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And that governments must move forward quickly and efficiently to get us some regulation so we can get this ball rolling. Now, do you understand what that means? Right now, with FTX collapsing, Celsius collapsing, stablecoin collapsing, it was all the narrative, whether it was planned or not, it was a narrative with the SEC and Ripple case to bring in regulation to the space so that the institutions like Bank of America that are just sitting there waiting, ready to hit the switch, once they get clarity, boom, they open up the rails. Once they get regulation, you'll see Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, that already has JPM coin in their own blockchain and cryptocurrency when they told you cryptocurrency was a fraud. Once you see that red light get switched and regulation clarity, you're going to see trillions of dollars flood in to the crypto marketplace. The future, though, is real world, real solve, real companies, utility tokens. They're going to come smashing down on meme coins. In the NFT space, it's about real world solve, contracts, medical records. We're launching our NFT on XRPL on January 11, 2023. We're innovating our whole company into an NFT and the metaverse. This is a switch from industrial to technical. Warriors, let's get your shit together. Let's go. Love you guys.
All right. Shout out to Coach JV. If you want to follow him, he's at Coach JV _ on Twitter. I'm going to go ahead and stop that. And I want to present another one to you. And of course, this comes straight from Swift. Well, it's basically from this person, at Bobus Cugs. It says, Destiny awaits. Listen to what is in this. Of course, I'm just going to go ahead and share this before you can see this. My bad. Hold on a second. So, if anything, here we go. Yeah, it says, Destiny awaits. It says, for instance, it comes straight from Swift. It says the CBDC landscape could become fragmented globally. There's a key highlight that we're going to get to in a moment. This is that, basically today, the global CBDC ecosystem risks becoming fragmented with numerous central banks developing digital currencies based on different technologies, standards, and protocols. If left unaddressed, this fragmentation could lead to, quote, digital islands. Now, this is a term that you're going to see thrown around here for quite a bit. I'm telling you flat out, within the next weeks, months, and so on, especially leading up to March. So springing up across the globe. Consequently, developing a way for transactions to flow between different CBDC constructs and platforms will be critical. A bilateral solution between two countries would work, but such a system would not be scalable and would be unmanageable if applied globally. Now look at this key highlight here. It says a multilateral interoperability mechanism, immediately thinking quant, is therefore needed to connect up CBDC networks and existing payment systems globally, and thus enable CBDC transactions to flow across borders in a seamless and frictionless way. When I also hear that other term, where it basically states, and thus enable CBDC transactions to flow across borders in a seamless and frictionless way, immediately also think of Ripple's XRP and Stellar's XLM. So I definitely wanted to share that with you guys. I'm going to kick it back to comments for just a brief bit. And we, of course, have some more Ripple XRP news that we want to share with you guys. Up next is Crypto Winner. He says, I'm still holding Terra to this day. Nice. He states, yeah, it's on the Cosmos network and you can stake it. Huh. How do you buy it? He says, Tim Shea. You have to download the Cosmos Hub app from the Play Store and add the wallet on and buy, stake, and also add other wallets. Okay. Crypto Winner also states, in the Cosmos Hub, you can stake at the Terra Lab Crow Maker Chihuahua, and the list goes on and on. That's where it's coming from. Okay. Thanks for that feedback, Crypto Winner. Appreciate it. Tim Shea says, oh, okay. You must really be into Cosmos. I heard it is becoming more popular. I have some on Coinbase. Yeah, we covered Cosmos here briefly before. We didn't get exactly a big turnout for that particular day, but I do realize, I think yourself, Tim, you were here for that and so on. I'm looking at it from this perspective. I'm going to go ahead and share this real quick because I know we're talking about this instead of necessarily XRP, but we're in the comments. It's kind of like a back and forth thing. So, for instance, on Cosmos, Adam, it's sitting at 10.15. This dropped, of course, to about 980, something like that. It's 978. This last week, though, Let me see that. So about a week ago, bottom was 877. My God, can you imagine if somebody picked that up? That would have been an absolute buy. So yeah, that bottom, I didn't know. Man, I thought it was just like in the nines. So I mean, I thought it was like 950 and so on. I didn't realize this went down all the way down briefly for a few hours. Yep, that's where it pays to have your buy orders, right, guys? So this went down to 879.68. What a steal that was. Absolute steal on Atom on November 22nd. Which when was that, by the way? So last Tuesday at roughly, I don't know, 12:30, like around midnight my time, till for about 3 to 4 hours it was around that price. So yeah, I mean, and if anything, I mean, I know some people, they have the attitude like, well, Max, how can I realistically put in a buy order on something that's never done that before? Well, it has now. And if anything, you could technically do buy orders depending on what app you did. You do buy orders on a lot of things, right? But I'm just saying, like, we all have our preferences on certain apps. So just, be reflective of what you saw. If you have been interested in getting into Atom, you may have attitude, well, I'm not going to put a buy order, for that. The whole market's going to tank even more. I mean, I get it, but that wouldn't be a bad idea. You could always put another buy order. Maybe you put one in for 880 or 875 or whatever the case be. But I still believe even at 10, it's still a buy compared to where we have been. So, look at this. So for instance, September 19, 20, 21, all-time highs, 48.428. Again, this is during a bull market, towards the end of that particular bull market, and then, it kind of held decent levels. I mean, let's face it, I mean, above $23, $24 for quite a bit of time, for most of that year. I mean, we had it, of course, drop down in summer all the way down to, wow, that was a massive crash last summer. So I guess technically speaking, I mean, somebody could have recognized that again. So 622, 2021. And then also, what we saw recently, I guess technically speaking, it could have happened again. So it's interesting to follow this because, I mean, I just still feel as though Cosmos is very underrated. It's ranked 22nd. And, there hasn't been a lot of talk about it until recently. Why recently? Because the whole thing with Luna Classic and so on, that, it's different. But if you exclude all of it and you look more into Atom Cosmos itself, they got quite a bit going on. I mean, come on, my friend, he's in Kava, for instance. Look into Kava, right? With what they got going on with Cosmos and Kava. And that's just, again, one of many different examples and so on. So yeah, thanks for pointing some of that out and sharing that info with us, Crypto Winner. And we'll get to the next comment. Crypto Winner says, send them to the hub and download a Kepler wallet to complete the set. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. Look at June when it went from bottom for real. Yeah. Coins Pro is easy to put buy orders in, he says. Okay. All right, let me show just you guys just one more thing. Maybe a couple more things. Hold on a second. So present this. There is this right here. And this comes straight from Cointelegraph. It says Ripple to consider deals for FTX assets. Brad Garlinghouse. I mean, there's so many different ones. Like, you've seen the whole thing, for instance, the start of it all, right? With Binance, right? With that centralized exchange, the biggest one out there, acquire FTX, and then that didn't fall through. Then you hear, like, for instance, what was it? CZ and Binance and so on consider the whole thing with VGX. I think there's a lot of emphasis, a lot of focus on just that distressed assets from these former exchanges that just went kaput or really like down in the dumps for bankruptcy, you name it. So, for instance, it says that Brad Garlinghouse basically said that his company would be interested in companies owned by FTX that serve business customers. It mentions that he's basically reportedly interested in buying certain parts, not all parts, of collapsed crypto exchange FTX. It says on the sidelines, Ripple's Swell conference in London was, of course, held on November 16th and 17th, which was basically not that long ago. Garlinghouse told the Sunday Times that former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried called him 2 days before the company filed for bankruptcy as he sought to round up investors to rescue the business. Our 6th annual Ripple Swell is underway. I took the stage this morning with CNBC Karen to discuss all things Ripple. We saw briefly some of that. Crypto industry, macroeconomic factors affecting crypto, and much, much more. It goes on to also mention that Ripple's CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, said during that call that him and Sam Bankman-Fried discussed that there were FTX-owned businesses that Ripple would want to specifically own. He states part of that conversation was if he needs liquidity, maybe there's businesses that he has bought or he has that would want to own. Would he basically bought some of those from him? I definitely think that was on the table, he said. He says, however, Garlinghouse admits that now the FTX has basically filed, bankruptcy in the United States. A potential transaction for all FTX business will be very different than it would have been one-to-one. On top of that, Brad said, Garlinghouse basically said that he's not saying he wouldn't look at those particular things. He says he's sure he will, but it is a harder path to transact. Approximately 130 companies affiliated with FTX, including FTX US, were included in the bankruptcy filing in Delaware. Some subsidiaries not included in the proceedings, include Crypto Clearinghouse, Ledger X, FTX Digital Markets, FTX Australia, PTY and payments processor, FTX Express Pay. Garlinghouse said he would be interested in buying the parts that served business customers. Cointelegraph, of course, has reached out to Ripple for additional comment, hasn't received it. Kind of gives you an idea of what has basically happened. A little bit more further back, it says, for instance, it appears that Ripple's executives, like many in the industry, are following the latest developments of the FTX saga, rightfully so. Mentions back on November 10th, CTO of Ripple, David Schwartz, directed a message on Twitter toward employees of FTX, suggesting that there would be room at Ripple for them, listen to this, so long as they aren't involved in compliance, finance, or business ethics. And that's worth pointing out. So, if anything, it's like recognizing that there's going to be people there. It's a timeline, right? People are going to be out of a job. They provide a certain level of talent, experience, and so on. And that Ripple basically is hiring, just like literally what it says right there. And then last but not least, it says FTX has recently appointed restructuring administration firm Kroll as its agent to track all claims against FTX and ensure interested parties are notified of developments through, of course, its Chapter 11 bankruptcy case. So, definitely wanted to share that with you guys and so on. I think we're going to see quite a few things more in regards to how all this developed and so on. But that doesn't mean that, Ripple is basically trying to be like opportunist, if you will. But I do like the idea that, extending that, basically, the olive branch, if you will, saying, hey, we realize who's talented over here. And without saying, you guys are going to be without a job here soon, come over and work for Ripple. And if anything, you probably will see that even with Twitter and so on, right? With what's going on here recently. All right. Pearl Neem says, what's up, bro? Good to see you here. I'd like to, of course, welcome you here at CTN and, of course, give you the warm welcome. Everybody, please go ahead and welcome him. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. He says that he's in XLM trade still at 0.08658. Nice. I recently doubled my position of my XLM. I still feel at those prices, that's a great price compared to what I originally got in on my first bag, like roughly 28 cents. So, I mean, it's dirt cheap compared to what it was. And of course, Tim Shea saying hello to you. There's another video I'm going to share here with you guys briefly. Just going to take a moment to share it. It's a little bit more, of course, with our whole XRP coverage for tonight. There's this, and it says the honest truth about Bitcoin. It was a good prototype, but basically that's all it will be. It's wasteful, slow, and expensive. And look to ISO 222 for your money makers, right? So XLM, XDC, XRP, right? The triple X's. Let's face it, Quant. And it's not me or him necessarily bashing the likes of Bitcoin, but let's face it. I mean, Bitcoin. The way I'm looking at Bitcoin is kind of like it's like a pioneer, if you will. That doesn't mean I won't necessarily invest in Bitcoin, especially like if it did tank all the way down to 11K. That's very, very tempting to like even buy half of a Bitcoin. Let's be honest, especially if it goes, we get back into a bull market and so on. And I think a lot of people are looking at that from that perspective. And you can even apply some of that to like the likes of Ethereum and so on, right? But listen to this. This is going to be about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And listen to what he has to mention here. Makes a lot of sense. We'll be back in just a moment.
If we think about the efficiency of the chips, this is the most efficient chip I could find. So that's kind of we'll be underestimating the costs. That results in 581 kilowatts. If we do that multiplication, and if we think about that over a 24-hour day, that's 14 million kilowatt hours of power a day to mine Bitcoin. That compares with some small countries. The closest is the power usage of North Korea. Okay. If we price that out, if we just look at average industrial utility prices, it turns out that the total cost of Bitcoin mining right now, this back of the envelope calculation, is around $1.7 million a day, just for this proof of work. That works out to $25 a transaction. And that's not all. There's another interesting aspect to this. This idea of these special ASICs chips that are built and miners have to buy, that's also, in some sense, wasteful. Let's think about a quick game. We have Alice and Bob. And supposing they're using processing, they're doing mining. We're just imagining they're the only two now. And the faster processor costs $2,000. And we'll imagine that if they both use the current processor, they have an equal chance of winning. And if they buy the new processor, they'll have an equal chance of winning. But if one has the new and one has the old, the person that has the new has a 75% chance of winning. Let's look at a game. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but this is a normal form game. And so what we're doing here is we're looking at what each person's doing. So Alice can be using old or new, and Bob can be using old or new. And if we look at that, if they both use old, they have a half chance of getting, I said 12,000 Bitcoins is what they can earn if they with the old processor. So they're each going to get a payoff of 6. If they use the new chips, they're going to get half of 12, but they're going to spend the 2,000. They're going to have payoffs of 4. So what should they do? It looks like they should both use the old chips. But the problem is that if Bob is using the old chip, Alice could use the new chip. And if she did, she'd have a 3/4 chance of winning, pay the 2,000. Bob would have a 1/4 chance of winning. Those payoffs are 7 and 3. So what would Alice do? If Bob was using the old chip, she'd use the new chip.
There's, of course, he goes into full detail, and you can check it out for yourself. But, something, of course, I'm going to share with you guys, and you guys have seen this before. I'm just going to bring it up here just a moment. But, for instance, one second. There was, of course, this whole comparison chart. And if anything, like, I'm going to show it right now, actually. So it's just a great reference, right? Like, you can see it for yourself. I'm just going to pull it up again. Let me just copy the image address. Oh, it just makes it a lot easier. Yeah, there we go. So you've seen this before yourself. All right. You should have at least. Oh, boy. There we go. There we go. There's this. We shared this on the show for literally, oh man, probably back till like May, right? I don't know if we shared it in April, but I would say at least May, June. the comparison, right? So you literally heard what he had to say as far as, $25 basically on that particular transaction, right? And you compare that, of course, to, for instance, this third generation of Zinfins XDC, and it's just, look at the fees. Like this one says average fee is $15. In reality, it is kind of like what he mentioned. Like it is very common to see it to be like $25, depending on course, on that particular transaction. Maybe it's still fair to say 15. Right? Heck, you guys know how it is with ETH, $10. It says average fee, but again, bull run, you're looking at like as high as 300. I seen it literally. But an ISO 222 type crypto of Zinfins XDC, 0.40 and a 1, like the price of a Luna Classic token, basically. It's huge. This whole concept of people wanting to be Bitcoin maxis, and they coming out stating that, why would you want to, for instance, get Quant? And it's just, to me, that's ridiculous. Quant has less of a circulating supply than Bitcoin. It's basically the Bitcoin of the ISOs, and they have the utility already. It's not just investing in a token, right? Some people say, "Oh, it's an ERC20 token." Really? You're investing in the token representing it, but what you're really investing in is in the software. And the same applies to a sense like with Zinfins XDC. I mean, it's just, there's a reason why this is called the ETH killer. Again, the adoption is going to happen. And of course, at first it's going to happen with what's coming up in March and whatnot. But again, I just want to show you guys some of these comparisons and so on, because a lot of us already know it, but it's another thing, like when you hear the perspective of, like he uses the example of the ASIC miner. Then of course, let's not even mention the whole thing that happened with Ethereum recently, right? Going from, proof of work to proof of stake, right? Those ASIC miners are basically worthless. So people have to go to the likes of, Ethereum Classic or, say, forget it. I'm selling my miner and I'm going to use my other computer and I'm just going to mine Ravencoin, things like that. So there's that. Anyway, there's a little bit more in regards to what I want to share with you guys. And it's in regards to Luna Classic. I'm going to definitely bring that up to you guys here in just a moment. It's just real brief news. So here it is. And I know a lot of you guys follow Luna Classic and so on, and I do as well. And a lot of times we haven't been covering Luna Classic as much as we should, but I definitely want to bring this up to you. So this is from David Gobelt, who's a Luna Classic validator. He states, as Luna Classic holders, I ask you to use your Twitter might to get this message out. Well, this is me part of doing just that. It says, quote this tweet and add another altcoin hashtags to gain exposure. Screenshot the message and post as your own. Our greatest strength as our community is our voice. Please do your part and use it. What will make Luna Classic succeed? It says this specifically, and I believe full-heartedly in some of these things. So it mentions, hold on a second. Yeah, all right. Sorry about that. Let's get a phone call at the moment. It mentions this specifically. It says IBCs, Badir, aka Crypto Winter, was talking about this. So it says, IBCs are opening to the cosmos in about 12 days. Luna version 23 is projected to be complete next month and undergo testing and deployment in Q1 2023. The chain parity to Luna 2 expected, listen to this, Q1 2023. That's right around the corner, which will allow 150 plus decentralized apps to easily deploy with us. That is one of the key things I want to outline. We said it here multiple times. Just, of course, all the focus about, we went from 1.2% burns to 0 point whatever it was. I can't even remember because it's been a while. Percent and so on, and then all these other burn proposals and just proposals in general. And some of them obviously worked and so on. There's a lot of focus on that, right? And of course, the whole thing with Binance. And where we went with that basically. The whole thing of not being 100% on chain and off chain. It's kind of like not having your cake and having your cake and eating it too. You're not gonna get it all the way. It's compromise, right? But I think if anything, the main thing, like I've always wanted to point out before, was developing that ecosystem, reestablishing that ecosystem. Why? Because that worked out so well before Luna became Luna Classic, right? In the past and so on. That's how, Terra was able to get well past $100, right? And be, what was it, like top 15 crypto? And it was massive, right? Again, you see the not just a roadmap, but literally some things that you could totally see, like the light at the end of the tunnel. So, for instance, on top of that, it says Duncan is working on an initiative to deploy a repaired and rebranded Anchor protocol. Again, that was another thing. So DeFi is what first made Luna popular. Again, a rebranded protocol. But listen, for people who were scared about this, like, oh God, no, don't go down that rabbit hole again, right? They get it. They understand they can't just go down that. And you can't just make it like purely algorithmic. I mean, it might kind of be, but like they do realize all the factors that came into play, more going out than what was coming in. And I also get the whole thing with recently with, Sam Bankman-Fried and the whole FTX fiasco and so on. But again, realizing the mistakes that were made, and if anything, working on an initiative to deploy and repair what was done and rebrand it. It wouldn't be the first time that something that had a bad name was rebranded. We've seen it time and time again. On top of that, work is being done to create an AFT to use USTC as a stable token around Q1, Q2, 2023. That's huge in itself for all those people that basically took advantage of some of these sales for USTC when it went below 2 cents, right? Roughly in the 1.8, 1.9 area. That'd be humongous, because if anything, even if you were a person that came in even below a penny at that point and loaded up a big bag of that, if it gets pegged back to that original dollar value, that's a 33. I think it's more. Actually, it's more than 33x. Right? It's crazy. That's just huge. It says, for instance, after CosWasm is updated, Zardar, right, one of the biggest members of the Terra Rebels and so on, will be creating an on-chain DApp deployment platform using partition pools and swapping using USTC as the on-chain reserve currency, and ultimately burning massive quantities of just that Luna Classic. This should be around Q3 or Q4 of 2023. Even without getting further into this, 2023 is not just a massive year, in my opinion, for cryptos, right? The ISOs especially. It's also a massive year on this outline for just that. Luna Classic and USTC. So a little bit more on this. It says Professor Kim was successfully set up, or I should say, has successfully set up the grants program to facilitate funding to the most effective initiatives, getting funding where it needs to go. Right. Helping those that basically are working on this and so on, and rewarding them. That's a big win. People aren't going to necessarily work for free. Multiple decentralized apps, games, NFTs are currently deploying or in development. Again, another big thing for helping just that, the ecosystem and so on. Ultimately, Luna Classic will be what it was intended to be, a DeFi platform and much more. It will be diverse, decentralized, mecca of cosmos in crypto. So all the people want to say this thing is dead. Why? Because you don't see something happen overnight. Every time I see somebody say Luna Classic is dead, all right, it just reminds me that how long you've been in crypto. And it's consistent when I see some of the answers. And it's like, I can respectfully basically say that you're looking at crypto from the perspective of almost like get rich quick. And it's not a get rich quick scheme. If anything, it's knowing what you have, knowing what you've researched, knowing what the use case is, and understanding all these things outlined, for instance, and that is building up the ecosystem. You're going to go with what worked in the past, and then also recognize that the changes that need to be made, such as the mistakes that were made, hence Anchor Protocol, you name it, and then going from there. That was a success story at one point. What happened was all the other crap from people, doing shady crap, right? But it's been turned over to, for instance, the community, a real community, a passionate one, that is getting all this stuff going on. I'm still very, very excited for the likes of Luna Classic, and that was the main thing I wanted to show you. I didn't see a lot of people particularly tweeting this specific one. I've seen other ones and so on, like, oh man, Luna Classic on, for instance, Binance US by Monday. All right, this sounds good, but that might not happen. But this outline, yeah, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to do this right here, and that is hit the heart and retweet, just like he said. And I hope that you guys do as well, because this gets more and more people talking about. This is more than just an outline of, hey, Luna Classic to the moon. Show people this. Why? Because this is what they need to see. All right. Now I got a little bit passionate about that, but you know what? Sometimes I like doing that. All right, I'm gonna kick it back to the comments. Peronium, I'm in on a margin trade. He also says that he does own a lot of XLM shares. That's good. Crypto winner, nice. I was trying to margin call on Trust Wallet last time, got hurt. Crypto winner also states he made more money in the process, and he also states Peronium, let's go. Thanks, Perom. Appreciate that. Bro, if XLM hits 18 cents, I'll be up 70K. My God, nice, man. Peronim, but I did close to 60%. Okay. Well, you know what? Consider changing your avatar. Like, see how Crypto Winner has his face, and it's kind of like a metaverse version of himself and so on. By the way, it looks really good, Crypto Winner. Consider that. That way you can identify you a lot more easier. Consider changing your avatar to something about more who you are and what you're about and so on. But really appreciate the questions, the comments, and what you shared with us so far tonight. Crypto Winner states, when Wrap Bitcoin depegs, I bought in at 15,879 and ran a long to 16,445. All right, how's that been working out? Like, I mean that. Like, is it going all right for you so far? Pearl Win, that wild. He also says Fallen Sword by bias. I see. Crypto Winner, I'm playing the short profit game right now. Yeah, in this market, I mean, why not? Especially if you have experience shorting. So I mean, that might be very well working out for you. He says, let's eat. Crypto Winner, I knew Wrap Bitcoin would come back up flying to repeg. Peronim, I should say. Pump and dump, name of the game. As long as you take your golden. My boy. All right. I just subscribed. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Be on the lookout, of course, like I mentioned. We do a lot of quant coverage. There's some videos that we basically release like almost daily. We got a lot of coverage with that. XDC is some other ones we do. XRP and so on. All right, Crypto Winner. By ETH doing the change, they kept 1 billion ETH from hitting circulation and actually burning around 350,000 of ETH. Wow. Parom Neem says, I was looking up XLM on YouTube. Somehow I got landed here, but oh well, let's see what he got on his mind. Well, it's because we do talk a lot about XRP, XDC, XLM, quant, stuff like that. We talk a lot about what's going on with ISO 222 and whatnot. If there's big things going on with XLM, like we'll try to give you guys the news updates and whatnot. A lot of times, especially when it comes to XLM, like it might not necessarily have like a daily update with that. So like we'll cover the likes of XRP and so on. Crypto Winner states, if anyone wants to participate in what happens to Luna Classic, please join the Cosmos Hub, stake your Atom, and start governing Luna Classic with me. He also states it's going to take us at the Cosmos Hub 8 months to release over $100 million to Luna Classic holders and vote on the future. All right, Daniel Delgado, quant is blockchain agnostic, right? Quant is blockchain agnostic, right? Yes. Crypto Winner got paid quick on that today. Okay. Perom Neem. Yeah, another reason why is because quant, for instance, it's an operating system. So it's not its own blockchain. You know what I mean? So if anything, some people, I don't know, they look at, for instance, quant because they invest in the token, right? So obviously when we go to buy quant, people see that's an ERC20 token, but that's just a token that represents what we're buying into, right? But technically speaking, we're investing more into the the software, right? The operating system, the overledger. Sometimes people just who are new don't necessarily know that. Okay, call me P, bro. All right, I'll just refer to you P. There's another P. We got Mr. What was it, Max P? But I'll just refer to you as P. Okay. P states, I'm a switch to my other account. P2 nice. All right, I'll have to remember that. And Pistol P. All right, cool, man. Thanks for that. Just going to go ahead and highlight that particular one. And if anything, I think I have a little bit more I'm going to share with you guys. Let me see. That might very well be it. Let me see. You know what? It is it. So, I'm going to read this last comment, and it's P Nice again. He states, I'm Pirom Neem, aka P Nice. This is my other YouTube account. Go follow me. I'll be doing uploaded videos soon on Catch, Clean, and Cook. All right, let me see. I'm gonna look up. Do you have a link to your YouTube, or what do we just type in P Nice on YouTube? Let me see. Let me see real quick. This is P Nice 6 years ago. I don't know if that is you though. There's a lot of P Nices. Huh. All right. Well, just tell us what to type in on YouTube, and then I'll give you a follow for sure. All right, Crypto Winter Quant is a sophisticated Cosmos hub. P Nice put up XLM chart in ETH, and let's see here. P Nice says I haven't uploaded it yet. Well, I'm looking to actually wrap up the show right now because we've been going about 2 hours and 10 minutes. But in the future, we have done charts and so on, like we've done Luna Classic, and so on. But yeah, guys, I can't thank you enough for being here tonight at Crypto Talk Now. Like I mentioned, we've been going about 2 hours and 11 minutes. Stay tuned to for tomorrow's coverage, which is Saturday, here at Crypto Talk Now. Of course, be on the lookout for some of our quant coverage and whatnot. But if anything, I was going to show you just real quick is this right here before we wrap things up. So let me click on it. So we're only about 40 subscribers away from 8,000. So we've been, really kind of like on a roll. The last quant video, it's got subscribers, 324 views. Metropolis, it's all right and so on. But like, as you can see before that, like we finally broken into XRP, starting to really, get some subscribers and so on for that. The reason for it is because I took like a highlight from the show where it says how ISO 222 will pump XRP. It gets really specific, and it does answer what it says in the thumbnail. But if anything, like you see right here, I do a comparison of Web 2.0 to Web 3.0 and how quant basically, interconnects all of that through interoperability, right? Quant to Ripple, Ripple's XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, legacy, you name it, right? And a lot of times in the thumbnail, I'll try to put something like, for instance, showing that quant is basically Bitcoin with utility. I think I'm going to continue to do that more because if anything, it catches people's eyes and so on. And it's not like it's a lie. It's the truth. I mean, it is a lot like Bitcoin, but so much more than that, right? With the utility. But anyway, guys, like, we're covering XDC. This one where it says quant Bitcoin utility, it says the next Bitcoin with utility, basically mentions, a few key things in that. I mean, it's a 25-minute long video, but people have really been getting a really well reception on it. So that one got like 1,200 views, but just be on the lookout for that because that's something where I put a lot of focus on as of lately. And then of course, I'm just trying to dollar cost average more and more into the likes of quant. I'm almost to my 10 quant goal, not quite. And then I'm gonna have to set a new goal of maybe 20. I know some guys like, was it Somo Fudd wants to do 100. There's Linois who already has over 100 quant. So I mean, it's like, wow, man, shout out to some of you guys. But yeah, I mean, as you can see here, I mean, I'm just consistently covering the likes of quant. So there's been a lot of focus on covering quant, Luna Classic, Bone, XDC, and Clearpool and Zilica's Metropolis, as much as we can. So I'm just gonna read maybe a couple more comments and then really gonna wrap up the show after that. P Nice says, I don't know how to do that. I'm still new. It's all right. Crypto winner, I believe ETH is holding nice since it dropped to 900 zone, and it is holding better than Bitcoin. And last but not least, this last comment for ETH, see $900 again. Bitcoin have to come to the 8K. Okay, all right. I guess I'll read that. That would be around the 2017 lows, huh? Yeah. All right, guys. So thanks so much for showing up tonight here at Crypto Talk Now. Again, be on the lookout for some of the recorded content. Of course, any alerts I put out for various different cryptos on Twitter. And if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, hit that bell notification. And guys, it's just that. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great night. Over and out for now.